Although Christopher Columbus had an interest in spreading Christianity, his desire to find gold and glory led him to befriend the Native Americans, manipulate the Native Americans, and then unwittingly cause the extermination of the Caribbean Indian population.
Christopher Columbus was born in 1451 on the island of Corsica. He attended the University of Italy, where he studied cartography and navigation. This is where his interest in sailing began.
Columbus's knowledge of map-making led him to believe that the world was round instead of flat. He believed that he could sail west to reach Japan. In 1492, he received permission, sailors, 3 ships, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, and money from Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand to explore the West. Columbus promised to spread the word of God, to bring back any gold he discovered, and ultimately to bring glory to him and his country by discovering a faster route to Asia.
Before the Europeans arrived, the Arawaks were a friendly, peaceful, and generous society. Although they had no beasts of burden or wheeled vehicles, they were still able to produce a tobacco plant and gather a significant amount of gold from the riverbed. In general, the Arawaks were hardworking and productive in producing items for trade.
The initial interactions between Columbus and the Arawaks were friendly and innocent. Columbus was able to barter with the natives to obtain many ornaments of gold. The presence of gold resulted in many more explorations to this area from Europe. Columbus was treated with hospitality and respect by the natives, in part because the Arawaks thought the Europeans were divine in origin.
In 1495, Columbus captured 1,500 Arawak men, women, and children. 500 of these people were sent back to Spain, and over 200 of the Arawaks died on the way. This event is known as the Great Slave Raid. After the establishment of Isabella on the island of Hispaniola, the Arawaks became hostile towards Columbus and his men because of the frequent demands by the Spaniards for food and women. Columbus responded to this hostility by demanding gold and capturing slaves. Those who resisted were hunted through the forest by armed men with savage dogs.
The Arawaks tried to make an army of resistance to stand up to Columbus and his fellow sailors, but they were no match for the Spaniards' armor, muskets, swords, and horses. After 224 days in the Caribbean, he returned to Spain, bringing back 7 enslaved Arawaks. Columbus's findings impressed everyone, and Europe's attention moved to the west.
The Arawaks responded to the European aggression by committing mass suicides. In the year 1550, there were only 500 Arawaks on the island of Hispaniola. By the year 1650, there were no original Arawaks left on the island.
The rest of the world quietly accepted the conquest and murders in the name of progress. Columbus began missionary work by trying to spread Christianity among the natives of the land. Columbus dreamed of being wealthy and owning land, but he felt compelled to claim the island as Spain's because he had made an agreement with the Queen and King. Columbus's belief that the world was round was very radical for his time, but by landing in the Caribbean, Columbus was able to prove his theory to be true. Columbus did not accomplish his original goal in finding a passage to Asia, but what he did discover was much more valuable. He gained a new respect and inspired many more Europeans to begin exploring the Western world. There were many positive effects of Columbus's explorations. His discovery caused the primary center of trade to be moved from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic Ocean. Columbus stimulated scientific advances in map-making, navigation, and encouraged the exploration of the actual dimensions of the Earth. Because of his contributions, Europe went global, and Columbus can be considered a catalyst for human freedom.
There are also many negative views of Columbus. Columbus exploited and abused natives, which led to the creation of the slave trade. Columbus's conquest introduced the process of seizing land for monetary gain. As European colonization developed, the genocide of Caribbean Indians began because of guns, germs, and steel.
Columbus has been blamed for beginning genocide, racism, and imperialism. However, most people credit him with a much more positive feat of being the first European explorer to discover the Americas.